So, this is me and my family putting up the structure for our yurt for the first time. We really don't know what we're doing, but we're giving it a go. The first thing I've got to do is get this skirt screwed onto the outside of the platform that we've already constructed. Once we have the skirt screwed on, we can start bringing up the lattice walls and tucking them against it. Once they're all up and tied to each other, I threw a tension rope around the top of all of them to kind of curve them in a little bit and keep them all together. Next was erecting the tonneau, or the ring that's at the center of the roof. We kind of expected this to be a bit of a wrestling match, but it just went up. It was really nice. The tonneau ends up being sort of a center point for everything else to connect to. Here you see us throwing the roof rafters up that attach from the wall to the center. There's a lot of centering and trial and error at this stage, but it can only go together one way, so it kind of sorts itself out. Next up is the inner liner, which is kind of like a cotton sheet that helps protect the inside of the yurt from what I call sheep rain from the felts and little pieces coming down from there. That's as far as we got the first night, so we threw some tarps over it just to protect it from passing birds. The next day we were able to start on all the felts. This is the insulation layer of the yurt. These are very dense and very heavy, but they do a really good job. The roof felts went on pretty smoothly, but the wall felts were a battle. On that far side of the yurt, it's about a 5-foot drop from the base of the platform down to the ground, so getting those wall felts to stay put was next to impossible. And whenever they would shift, we'd have to bring the ladder around and try and force them back up. After they fell down a couple of times, we decided that throwing one of the tension ropes on the outside might help to keep them up and give us a fighting chance. We worked well into the night just to get all the felts up and a couple of the ropes around them, but in the end, it worked out. The next day, everything was still attached. The next step was to add this waterproof vapor barrier around the house, given that I live in a much damper climate than Mongolia. Now, unfortunately, this is another place where my inexperience showed up. I've never shot a time-lapse before, and my camera overheated and turned itself off, which I hadn't considered as a possibility. But basically, we wedged the roll of house wrap under the ropes and brought that all the way around and taped as we went, and that worked really well, so it went really smooth. After that, we brought the canvas up and threw it on the roof. It's all one piece and pretty heavy, but it's a lot easier to maneuver than the felts are. And because of the cutout for the door, it's pretty easy to figure out which way you gotta orient it. Once the canvas was up, we attached all the outer horsehair ropes to keep everything together, and then finally brought the top flap up and tied it into position. We can pull it back for better ventilation and to allow more light in, or close it up to keep things dark or protected from the weather.